Before you watch this episode of our City Current radio show, I want to invite you to join City Current's e-learning and online personal development platform called Growth Current. I'm Jeremy Park, host of the City Current radio show and CEO of City Current. Growth Current is your exclusive ticket to attend virtual events with global thought leaders, national guest speakers, and experts who can help you grow personally and professionally. It gives you access to success secrets, lessons learned, learning modules, and so much more. Being online, you can join us from anywhere in the world. Subscriptions are only $8 a month, or you can do bulk subscriptions for your team. Check out growthcurrent.com to learn more and to join us in our efforts to power the good. And now, on to the show. Welcome back to the City Current Radio Show. I'm your host, Jeremy Park. We're honored to be with our next guest, Carol Jackson with Families Matter. How are you doing, Carol?
I am wonderful, Jeremy. How are you?
Doing well. So when you talk about the work you do, working with families and powering the good, give us a little history lesson for Families Matter.
Well, Families Matter is a faith-based nonprofit organization where we work with families, basically trying to empower children, helping families empower their children. Our mission is to strengthen families, change lives, transform Memphis. So we work with a lot of different organizations in a lot of different places, just trying to make sure that parents understand their roles within their children's lives. And then we work in schools, teaching. Right now, we still work it in schools, but we're doing it a little bit differently. Teaching healthy relationship skills so that teenagers understand that they can achieve a goal in life if they put their minds to it. And then one of our programs that we are trying to get off the ground right now during COVID is our Principles of Manhood program, where we're teaching young boys just basic things on how to have the principles that you need in order to succeed in life.
So much of this it's role modeling, it's equipping, it's support, education. So there's a lot in terms of what you do, but obviously the importance of it is in many cases, children sadly don't have the support network and they don't have the role models. And so on your end, working with both parents and children, but trying to change the generational, piece of this to where they grow up understanding what it means to be a good husband, wife, son, role model, like all these pieces. So, and it creates, like I said, a generational ripple effect for our community is kind of the large piece of this. But talk about some of the things that you're seeing with the youth in terms of what they're dealing with. So unpack that a little bit in terms of what they're dealing with the youth.
Well, we just recently launched our Connections class, which is dealing with teenagers. We have a Zoom class that we invite them to come into, a Zoom session that we invite them to come into. And what we are hearing a lot is right now, there are so many of them are depressed. In fact, several of the things that happened for us last year, we found out that they talked a lot about sex. They talked about their relationship with parents, and now we add COVID to it. And so now they're depressed and they want to get out. They want to see their friends. And in so many instances, they are doing it, but they're doing it at the detriment of their families. So many of our youth live in homes, Jeremy, as you just spoke. They live in homes where they are in the homes with grandparents. So you have a young person that's going out and just doing whatever they choose to do, and then come back with something that might impair their grandparent. So what we're trying to do is help them understand the necessity of being responsible, even as teenagers. So understand what they need to do and do not abort their future with one decision. Better decisions, fewer regrets. So we want them to make good decisions, and we try to offer them what they need so that they're able to ask the questions that will get them to the place where they want to be later in life. And for the parents, it's all about helping them create legacy. So many times when you're a young parent, you do not think about what's going to happen later. But legacy is important, and you want to create a legacy that you want to leave a legacy to your children. So you need that to be something in my mind more educational. Yes, we would love to leave pockets and pockets and pockets of money, but what good is money if you have no idea of how to use it and how to be prepared? So we believe in trying to educate. So we're educating parents, and then we're educating youth, so that in some point they can come together and we can create a better society for Memphis.
Yeah, I think, and as you unpack it too, with what the youth are dealing with, especially with COVID and the pandemic, adding a whole nother layer of challenge to this. But in many cases, these are single parent households, or they're living with their grandparents.
Yes.
And the pandemic, obviously, if they are exposing their grandparents, that's a whole nother layer of just challenge. But
Yes.
I think a lot of this is them understanding their role and responsibility, and like you said, having a vision and empowerment for the future. And then at the same time, as they grow up and become parents themselves, understanding those responsibilities too, because they're not necessarily seeing it face to face.
Definitely. It's hard. It's very hard because in so many instances, they do not have proper role models. And so it's, we're trying to make sure that when we say something, we're backing it up with people that's not perfect, but with people that have gone the distance, so that they begin to understand and we can walk with them so that the decisions they make are beneficial to them later on.
Give us a little bit of the foundational success in terms of building healthy relationships. Where do you start? Walk us through a little bit of that model in terms of what a healthy relationship looks like and some of the traits that go with that.
Well, one of the things that we do, we start a lot with understanding where the person is. Unless you understand where a person is, and when you start a class, like we just recently started a nurturing parenting class, and when you start a nurturing parenting class, especially today, because we're doing everything Zoom or Microsoft Teams, it's a technology that we're using. But we still go through the patterns of trying to understand where they are and what are some of the thoughts that they're bringing with them into a class. And then how do we teach in a way that what we're teaching becomes transformational? Because in so many instances, if all you've seen is negative, then when you come into the class, you bring that negativity with you. And basically all you're wanting to do is, okay, this class is 2 hours long. I will be in here for an hour and 45 minutes and then I'm gone, But what we want to do is engage them to the point that they can actually become, in so many instances, peer teachers, so that they can go back and get others and help them understand that it is important to understand your feelings. It is important to know that how you handle anger. Are you handling it responsibly, or are you handling it off the cuff? It's important to understand that in so many instances, depending on the relationship with the person you're dealing with, you have a power to or power over. So how will you handle that? How do you deal with circumstances when they do not go your way? And then it's important to understand who you are. Where did you get your foundation? Is that the same foundation you want to leave for your family, the one that you've already been in? So it's helping people understand that they can start in one place, but actually with hard work, you can end up in a totally different place, and you can literally change the trajectory of those that you love by simply doing some hard work. And so we want to stay with them. We want to mentor, and we do that. We have some guys, especially right now, that they're attending like their third session. They're coming back as peer mentors because they began to understand that I can make a difference if I try.
Walk us through the different programs. You've mentioned a couple, but go ahead and lay out the different programs.
Okay, we have a program called Dynamic Dads that's taught Dynamic Dads that's taught in hospitals. And right now we're in all the hospitals, and we can really be in all the hospitals now because we offer the class once a month. And so we invite all the hospitals to invite their fathers to participate. That class is teaching fathers how to not only take care of mom, but how to take care of baby, so that we do not have incidences of shaken baby syndrome and things like that. We want them to understand how to do it and how to do it right. Then we have our Connections program. I mentioned that earlier. That is a program that we are in the schools. We work with teenagers, helping those teenagers understand how to set a North Star and then how to reach that star. And then our next program is Principles of Manhood. So Principles of Manhood deals with young boys, and well, we say 5th grade through 21 years old, because in so many instances, without having a positive male role model, they have no idea what the principles of being a young man are. And I'll just give you one of the principles is, today I will stand and I will treat women with respect because my mom is a woman. Basic stuff that, Jeremy, you probably heard from your dad or your grandfather or someone like that, but these young men do not hear. And then our other program is Nurturing Parents, where we work with parents, and some are in the child support system. That's how we got involved with it. But now we're dealing with parents of all different types of backgrounds, and that's helping them understand, what does nurturing mean? How do I nurture my child? Even if I were not nurtured, how do I give my child those things that and when I say give, I do not mean tangible things. I'm talking about the intangible, the stuff that will help you go the distance. So how do I give them the choices, the understanding, the belief system that they can be someone if they put the work in? Jeremy, I always say put the work in, because maintaining and building relationships is hard work.
Absolutely.
And so we stress that this is something, we can give you a tool, but you have to use that tool, and you have to use that tool enough that it becomes your tool of choice. Because when something happens, you go back to what you're familiar with in so many instances. So we want to help you bridge that gap, so that when something happens that you would normally behave in one way, your behavior is totally changed and you're walking in a different path. That's what Families Matter is all about. It's all about the children.
Yeah, absolutely. We're talking with Carol Jackson, Executive Director of Families Matter, and talk about how the community can help. How can we support your efforts?
Well, the community, we always need funding, but let's not go there. Let's talk about let's talk about prayer, because one of the things that happens when you do this type of work, Jeremy, is in so many instances you're under attack. There's always things that's coming up that you have to face, especially as an instructor. And so prayer for our instructors, so they're able to do what they need to do in order to help people become better people. And then, of course, we could use more instructors. And I say that even though we're in a pandemic and we're doing some things, we're doing everything right now through technology, but so many times to have different people, different races understanding how we can come together and do some things, it helps our youth understand what it means to have other people in their lives. You understand what I'm trying to say? Ethnicity, bringing the ethnic races together is so important when we're dealing with our youth, because today's work market will look different than anything we've ever seen before. And so I'm wanting to incorporate a lot of those pieces so that our youth will understand that you, Jeremy, can come in and help teach a class and can give them something that perhaps the other instructor might not be able to, just because of backgrounds and where we all come from. And then of course, there is always funding. To be able to support us, go to our website, and you can always click on the donate button there, or write a check and send it to us. There's just many ways that you can help. Sending notes, one of the things that I found during this pandemic is I've gotten very few little letters of encouragement. And when you're working almost all the time, I go into the office a couple of times a week, but when you're doing this work and you're still trying to, everything we're doing is COVID related at this point, because we're trying, in a class, we're telling them, you have to be safe, you have to do this, you have to do that. Watch what the CDC is saying, wear your mask, do what you need to do. So everything we're doing is COVID related. Well, you hear COVID so much that you actually just want to breathe. And so letters of encouragement, if you see someone and they tell you that I took a Families Matter class, we'd love to hear that. You know, if it was good, I want to hear it. And guess what, Jeremy, if it was bad, I still want to hear it, because that makes me, I want to fix it. I want to make sure that everyone who enters our presence leave better than what they came.
Amen. So wrap up with the website, social media, phone number. Where do we go to get involved with Families Matter?
Okay, Families Matter. In order to get involved with us, you go to www.familiesmattermemphis, that's FAMILIESMATTERMEMPHIS.org. You can also go to our Facebook page, which is familiesmatter.org. That's something, I don't know what it is. And then you can always reach us at 901-260-8520, and all of our messages come to our phone. So if I'm not in the office, I still get it in my email, and I do have an office manager. Her name is Kelly Pearson. You can reach her at 901-260-8521. We are very, very, very involved in what's going on right now. We're trying to help churches, Jeremy. We're participating in food drives. And while we're doing all of that stuff, we are passing out our literature, helping people understand that you do not have to get depressed, saddened, or frustrated during this time. There's people you can talk to that can help you move through whatever the relationship issues are during a pandemic. All you have to do is let us know that you need the support, and we're there for you.
Well, Carol Jackson, Executive Director, Families Matter, greatly appreciate you and your team and all you do to make a difference. Thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you, Jeremy. It was a pleasure. Nice seeing you again.